You know, I'm talking about Demtrius Andrade, junior middleweight, former junior middleweight title holder, WBO to be exact. A lot of people, you know, still support him, and I'm one of the people that still support him, but you got to be objective and call the bullshit when you see the bullshit. You know, a lot of people are not aware. You know, people say, oh, where's the fights that he was offered, and where did he pull out? I don't remember that. Pull it up. Come on, man. You know, if you're around boxing enough, you hear these things, you read the headlines, you see the articles. You know, you see the bullshit that he pulling. You know, this your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the boxing clinic. Shout out to the LDBC, one time for the one time. And, you know, you see the bullshit. You know, you can go back to the Jamel Charlo thing. You know, I think it's supposed to happen in November a couple years ago, November, December. You know, he was making a career high payday at $500K. And, you know, Al Heyman made sure he's paid handsomely. It's going down on Showtime. I think it was before Premier Boxing Champions were created. You know, well, right around the same time it was kicking off, but it was going to be on Showtime. And, you know, he pulled out the fight for whatever reason. I forgot what reason it was. I think something was going on. But he pulled out the fight, you know, and then somewhere down the line, he pulls up to Jamal Charlo, his twin brother's fight, after the press conference and started talking shit after the press conference. Knowing that Jamal Charlo said he couldn't make 154 pounds anymore, he was moving up in weight. And knowing he was reluctant to move up to 160, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You know, knowing this guy will have other, you know, things on his agenda, and knowing you already pulled out a fight with his brother, so he's not about to stick around and squeeze down and struggle to make weight one more time, and you a pump faker. Let's just keep it real. A lot of people are attached to Andrade because, you know, he's black, he's from the East Coast, and you know that East Coast boxing community is deep. You know, this is one of the deepest and richest, you know, boxing communities of all time, you know, anywhere. Just in that region, you put it up against anybody. From Joe Frazier, you know, in Philly, to Bernard Hopkins. You go to New York, Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe. That's a deep lineage right there. But he ain't on that caliber yet. And he may never get on that caliber, you know. He's putting all these antics, going back and forth with Erislandy Lara on Twitter, talking about, oh, I do this to you, I do that. And at the end of the day, you know, we don't know who to believe. But at the end of the day, you know, to think about it, you got to believe Erislandy Lara. Lara put up to Canelo's press conference, talk shit, and actually signed on the dotted line. Let's keep it real. Demtrius Andrade called Canelo a bitch, and what'd he do? Sit out for a year or two. Disappeared. Canelo Alvarez, Erislandy Lara fought Canelo Alvarez. Austin Trout. Paul Williams. You know, called out Gennady Golovkin. You know, fought Alfredo Angulo. Before he made him damaged goods. He broke the eye socket or whatever he did to him. He's thorough. He's 100% thorough. He's been on one of the highest levels in that division. The highest level in that division. Andrade, what is his best fight? Vanes Monterosian? And this the guy that people going to bat for? Who got dropped by Monterosian? Who fought on ESPN Friday Night Fights longer than probably any 10-year prize fighter in history? No problem with that, taking your time. But once you take your time, guess what? You gotta hit the track explosion. He didn't do that. You know, he knocked out Willie Nelson. I'll give him that. He beat Vanes Monterosian. I'll give him that. Both guys had already been beaten before, I believe, or had a draw with Vanes, I think. Vanes had a draw with Lara. I don't know if he had been beaten by then. But, you know, what else? He beat Jack Colclough. He went to Germany. He did what a lot of other Americans were scared to do, go across, you know, overseas and get an intern belt and look like shit and talk back and forth with Lara, and then don't really want to negotiate and talking about, oh, it's not enough money. And then you can just go back as far as, you know, he was offered a WBO's vacant title shot versus Matt Korobov when Peter Quillen dropped his belt because he didn't want to fight Matt Korobov. He said, oh, no, they're not paying me enough money to move up one weight class and get a second world title, when he could have went back to junior middleweight and vacated the title, or just played the field until he got the best offer, because he would have been a champion at 160. No, he let Andy Lee swoop in, take the payday, take the belt, and go on to do bigger and better things. When he could have took the belt, defended against Billy Joe Saunders or something, and got a payday over there in Europe, probably double the payday he got from Jack Colclough. Bad business guy. This dude makes Andre Ward business team look like, you know, the platinum standard in boxing. And this is how bad he's been mismanaged. And through all the bullshit, he signs back up with his promoter, Star and Banner Boxing, or one or two of both. You know, and I don't think people understand how long this guy's been pro. He's been pro since October 2008. 9 years. We got on Kell Brook for not fighting nobody for 9, 10, 12 years. His resume look shit. We got on Gennady Golovkin for ain't fighting nobody for 15 years or 20 years. How many? 15 years for him. You know, this guy, people don't get on this guy because people forget about him. It ain't saying that I wasn't a promoter of Andrade. I was. Thought he was the next best thing. Thought he would have slaughtered both Charlo twins if they even had a tag team at a point in time. You can ask anybody. I was a big Demtrius Andrade guy. But you got to know a pump faker when you see a pump faker. You got to know a shot taker when you see a shot taker. He ain't a shot taker. He a pump faker. All those other guys in that division has progressed in their careers. Lars progressed. Both Charlo twins have progressed before him. And they, you know, Canelo has progressed on. Austin Trout has digressed, but he's done something. You know? So, he's in the same position he was 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's supposed to be a pound-for-pound caliber fighter. He's supposed to be one of the most talented fighters in boxing. He's supposed to be perhaps one of the pound-for-pound kings of boxing. We should be talking about Demtrius Andrade above Terrence Crawford at this point. He should be at middleweight trying to make some noise now. But he's still at junior middleweight, still trying to get a fight to put him in that position. But